What's up guys, it's Skill Up here with another Division video. Today I wanted to give you a very quick rundown of the most important points coming out of the patch notes. I'm not going to be going through them line by line because, frankly, you would have heard a lot of it before if you've been following what's happening. There's plenty of coverage on my channel that you can look at, other videos, if you want to find out some of that detail. I'm just going to be covering the stuff that we haven't heard before, the new stuff. If you're keen on that and you like this video, please drop a like. And if you're not yet a subscriber, hit that subscribe button now for the best Division coverage you'll find anywhere on the intertubes. And with that, let's get stuck in. Alright, so the very first thing I wanted to call out is the newly arrived named weapons. We already knew that there were 4 on the way, but I also alluded to the AA-12 shotgun, which was teased in the reveal trailer. The developers have since come out and said that this is actually not going to be available in this patch, and in fact, it's actually not going to be available until update 1.3, whenever that is. I'm not sure if that's going to be the expansion or not, but certainly the automatic shotgun AA-12 is not available until patch 1.3. Secondly, there was a sneaky little line under gameplay changes that was snuck in that reads, improved weapon blind fire and overall handling while in cover. Now, this could potentially be a really big deal. What does this mean? So basically, when you're behind cover and you're blind firing, that's basically when you're just kind of like throwing the weapon over your arm and you're just shooting without actually, aiming down sights. So that is actually not a big deal. No one really cares about that because you generally don't do that all that much. It's helpful though, don't get me wrong, but it's pretty rare that you do it. The overall handling while in cover though is potentially a really big deal because, let's say for instance assault rifles, let's say you get more handling out of an assault rifle when you're in cover. That's sort of the principal weakness of assault rifles right now. Their sort of recoil and their handling. So if you're going to get some free stability and accuracy just by being in cover, then that could be pretty great. So again, I'm not going to overhype this. I don't exactly know what this means yet. I need to test this out when I get in, but I will say watch this space and you can certainly expect that your weapons are going to be at least a little bit more stable or easy to handle, when you log back in with patch 1.2. Another very important change is that the gear score calculation has been redone. So currently what happens is that gear score is calculated by looking at all 3 of your weapons, and what people would do is that they would actually equip a really shitty secondary and pistol slot, and then they would basically aim to get into the lower ranked dark zone so they could gank players really easily, just grief people basically. So this change here is actually going to calculate your gear score based only on your most powerful weapon, right? So you basically can't cheese that anymore, and you can't slip down into a lower dark zone bracket by doing this. So it's a really, really positive change. Good on Massive for doing this one. One point I wanted to make very quickly, and it's not new information, but it is very important, is about the way that loot is dropping in the patch. In particular, 204 high-end weapons. They're the ones that everyone wants because that's the highest gear score you can get. You actually will get a 204 high-end weapon for doing Falcon Lost or Clear Sky on hard mode, right? So that's guaranteed. And similarly, you'll get an extra one of those once a week by completing them, right? So that's the weekly bonus that you get. So you get that on hard mode and you also get it on challenge mode, right? So, basically the point I'm making here is that hard mode incursions are actually a really, really fantastic way to guarantee yourself a 204 high-end weapon, and I'd really strongly recommend doing one of those each week because it's just a great way to get loot. Another very important bug fix that was made is that they've actually made it, some items were rolling more than 100% bleed resistance, particularly knee pads, right? So they've actually changed that because that obviously was ridiculous. Bleed resistance will no longer roll 100% on some items, which is a very important change given the new set, the Predator's Mark that's about to come out is going to apply a bleed effect. It's going to be very common in PvP. So this change is actually very important for those that were looking to completely mitigate the effects of that bleed. Now the developers have also called out that they fixed a bug where the small RDS scope mod would not roll weapon damage bonus, even though it was stated in the blueprint as a guaranteed stat. Now, I will eat my hat if this is correct. This does not sound right at all. I very much doubt that they are going to be adding one scope to the game that happens to roll weapon damage, because it would just completely render every other scope, you know, without weapon damage redundant, unless they're planning on sneakily changing the stat distribution of all scopes in 1.2. I guarantee you that someone has basically just misread these patch notes, and you will not be able to craft yourself a weapon damage scope come 1.2, so don't get too excited about that. Now, there are some very curious omissions from this. In particular, there are no changes to the Path of the Nomad set, so that set still is just terrible, basically. Even though it's got a nice little cheat death 4-piece bonus, the rest of the set is pretty garbage, and the reason it's garbage is because scavenging is terrible, and it basically does nothing, you know, and I won't go into the detail of it now, but essentially it makes it so that, you know, non-named enemies have a slightly higher chance to drop something, you know, so it's just complete garbage, and this has not fixed that. And I think one of the things that Hamish mentioned was that change was on the way. I don't remember if he said it was 1.2 or not, but he said it was definitely coming, so I guess we can expect to see further changes on scavenging in the future, but no, it's not going to be now for patch 1.2. And the other change that was not called out was fixing my goddamn stat screen. I mean, whoa, I can't even tell you how crazy that makes me. As someone that spends their entire life hanging out in the base of operations, you know, that shooting range and looking at my stat sheets while I do theory crafting, this is the worst. So this is maybe fixed, because they did say at the end of their list of changes that there's many more bug fixes. Hopefully this is on that list, because yeah, this drives me a little bit crazy. And that's it, guys. As I said, I didn't go through everything, but I wanted to just give you the stuff that most other people aren't talking about. I've listened to a lot of different YouTube breakdowns of patch notes, and most of them didn't cover a lot of this stuff, so I wanted to make sure that you got this. The rest of it is all very self-explanatory, or it's been covered in other previous videos that I've done, which are, you know, cover what's up in patch 1.2, like a new incursion and a complete rewrite of the loot system, and being able to hijack extractions, and, you know, PvE bounties, and all sorts of awesome stuff that make this patch pretty rad. I'm very excited about it. It goes live like pretty much now. As soon as I upload this video, you're probably going to be playing, so you're not going to probably even watch this video, but, you know, if you do, thanks very much for watching. If you liked it, please drop a like. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button now, and guys, I will see you on the flip side. Take care now, and see you in the dark zone. Bye bye.